This month, it will be my privilege to deliver two keynote addresses for 40 Days for Life, one in Atlanta and one in Marietta, Georgia. 40 Days for Life is an organization that promotes prayer outside abortion clinics and offers pregnancy crisis intervention to the women and couples going into those clinics. It started out in Texas, I believe, some years ago, and is now all over the world. There are a spring and a fall 40 Days for Life campaign in many, many cities now around the world. And I like it because it's an entry point for lots of everyday normal people who are not given to a lot of radical things to just go out and grieve and to pray for the end of abortion and to offer themselves as good Samaritans for one woman or couple at a time as they enter into that abortion business. And to say, listen, we're here to help you. We're able to help you. And if you choose life, you will be able to overcome all the obstacles that you are now facing that are driving you to this despairing decision that you can't make it and be pregnant. It raises the larger question, and that is, what should we as a church today be doing in the name of the gospel of life? We ask this question of pastors as well. What should their role be in the pro-life movement? Most pastors I know are a little bit defensive because they've been attacked by many people over the years for not doing enough. And I have wrestled with this question for over 30 years. I wrote a book with focus on the family called Answering the Call, particularly to try to help my fellow pastors learn how to lead well when it comes to the crisis of abortion. But over the years, I've recognized that there probably is a pretty good description of what a pro-life church looks like. And for leaders of a church to be looking for these particular marks in their church, to know with confidence that they are doing a pretty good job. They're leading well in the crisis of abortion. So I wrote up and posted what I call the 9 marks of a pro-life church. And I would like to offer this for any of you to download it for free and to just use it with any committees that you're working with, or maybe to encourage the people in your church to come out and join in the 40 Days for Life prayers. It's unfolding this fall. But listen to what I call the 9 marks of a pro-life church. Number 1, the people know the Word of God. The role of a pastor is not necessarily to start a pregnancy crisis center or do anything special outside their church. Their job is to preach the will of God as it's revealed in the Bible to the people of God. And that will include, if they teach the whole Bible, opportunities to speak to the intrinsic value of human life in the womb and outside the womb. And that's their job, primarily to make sure their people know the will of God and the Word of God. Number 2, the people fear God and they let their babies live. Somehow, between the pastor and the elders and the rulers of the church, the leaders, they've communicated to their community. No matter the crisis that you're in, no matter the embarrassment, no matter what shame that you now feel over some decisions that you've made, the solution is never abortion. As much as we want to uphold the biblical vision of waiting till marriage and being faithful in marriage, we all fall short of the glory of God. So please don't hide one sin with another. They communicate that in multiple different ways to their community so that they know that if they are pregnant, giving life is the will of God, and the church will support them in that decision. Number 3, they love their pregnant neighbor. You know, that's just living, working out the moral law of God, the royal law, love your neighbor as yourself. And we want to be churches that are involved with, particularly with a pregnancy help center, whatever is closest to you. Many churches who want to feel like they're doing well on the issue of abortion will need to establish an ongoing working relationship with a local pregnancy help center. I think it's one of the clearest marks of a pro-life church. Number 4, they hold true to their convictions, but they link arms with people who don't share all of their convictions. In other words, there are places where Pentecostals and non-Pentecostals and Reformed people link arms with Catholic people. There are places in this battle where we need to link arms, even with people that we don't agree with theologically at all the points of the gospel. But for the sake of the unborn, we do link arms. We did this with battling slavery over the years. We do this with matters of racial injustice today. There are places for us to link arms with people that we don't agree with completely, but we do agree with them in this particular cause. And so when it's appropriate in matters of policy or voting or whatever, this is a good place for us to link arms without compromising our moral beliefs. Number 5, we articulate the case for life. I believe that one of the most helpful things that the leaders of a church can do is simply to train their young people, their college-age students or high school students and all others who are interested in how to make the case for life in a secular culture. We teach this in about 5 minutes to people, how to use science as a beginning point and moral reasoning regarding human rights as a defense for the pro-life position on secular campuses and high schools and anywhere else that we might go. But I think that teaching pro-life apologetics is a really basic and fundamental way of serving our communities of faith today. Number 6, a pro-life church upholds the administration of justice. This is a gift in the Bible that some are called to enforce justice. And I think that what this means in a practical sense is that we encourage people who feel led to run for a public office or serve on a school board or to run for mayor or to run for senator or congressman or state, local, whatever. There are places for us to have influence in the leadership of our culture and to go into those places as people willing to enforce justice, to uphold justice, to pass laws and policies that are that reflect our view of justice and mercy today. Number 7, they practice citizenship. This is probably an easier one. We are in a democratic society like this one. We do get the leaders that we vote for. And I think there's an appropriate place for us as church leaders to encourage our people to make sure that they live out their biblical values in the voting booth. So there are times to emphasize what it means to be a citizen according to the Bible and to practice that particularly in the context of the United States of America. Number 8, they bring the gospel to the guilty. I just think it's, instead of being defensive about abortion as a pastor or a leader, it's the greatest opportunity for the gospel today, is to bring the good news of God's grace to the guilt and the grief of abortion. This is what pastors should be leading with, get a chance to lead with. Many, many pregnancy centers have ministries that they're helping those who have experienced the pain of abortion overcome it so that they know that they're forgiven and they can stand for life with a clear conscience and a bold testimony. And I think that is the main mission of the church, is to bring the good news to the guilty, even while we protect the innocent. And number 9, a pro-life church is marked by prayers for the end of abortion, which brings us back to the 40 Days for Life campaign this fall. If you've never heard of 40 Days for Life, you just kind of look them up on the internet and find a local 40 Days for Life. If you've never gone out to pray with other people in public for the end of abortion, it would probably be good for you to go out, get out of your comfort zone, and go ahead and take a public stand and just quietly grieve and weep over the reality of abortion on our land, and to pray for God in His mercy to remove this scourge from our land the way He removed slavery in previous generations. So those are my 9 marks, and if this is helpful for you, you probably can't remember them all, so go ahead and visit PassionLife.org and download this little 2-page reminder of the 9 marks of a pro-life church, and let's continue to work for the maturation of God's people in our time. Thanks.